Hello everyone, welcome back inside the PokerGO studio. This is the Big Blind. I'm Jeff Platt, back here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are at the quarterfinal stage of our ultimate test of knowledge on all things poker, Vegas, and gambling related. Let us take a look at this quarterfinals matchup, an interesting draw featuring 3 of our poker pros. First up, the overall #1 seed after an extraordinary showing in round 1. He finished that round with 28,200 in chips. It is Justin Young, and he's here in our studio once again. Is this like home for you or what?
I literally live here, yes. You guys give me a bottle of scotch every day, and I sleep in the back.
It's a pretty good deal. We had to rustle him off the couch, but he jumped in. He is good to go. Well, you did defeat Norm McDonald, and you did defeat one Chris Moneymaker. Chris finished in second in that matchup. He was the lowest overall seed to advance. But Chris, you are here in the quarterfinals. How does it feel?
I don't really think it's a defeat if you advance, is it? It's really survive and go home. I don't think you beat me at all.
Well, you beat Norm McDonald, who had 0 chips.
No, he had 600. That's right. He did have 0. Never mind. Yep.
He did have 0 at the end. How did it feel to lose to Justin on our sports betting hands?
I'm still hurt about it. I need revenge right now.
All right, we'll see if he gets that revenge. Joining these
Jamie.
two, she beat both Jared Jaffe and Joe Ingram to advance to this round. It is our #5 overall seed, one Jamie Kerstetter. Jamie, what do you think when you saw this draw for the quarterfinals that you were going up against Young and Moneymaker?
I was a little upset I had to wake up this early just to advance it tomorrow, but fine.
We did schedule an early time for this quarterfinals group because Chris is in Australia, where I think it's super, super early for him, right? It's 3 a.m. or so?
Yeah, it's 3 a.m. tomorrow for me, so.
Well, thank you all for joining us at these crazy times. Let us remind you of the rules. Our 3 players today start with 10,000 in chips. We use a limit hold'em betting structure. Now, before our pre-flop action begins, players will see the hand's category. They can then base their betting on their confidence level in that topic. Levels 1 and 2 consist of trivia questions in that category. We'll have a question on the flop, the turn, and the river. Those questions get progressively more difficult. Now, once our players send in our answers, we'll open up another betting round. You know the answer? Fire off a bet or a raise. Don't know the answer, but think a bluff will get through. Fire off a bet or a raise. If 2 or more players remain in the hand after the turn, we will go to the river, which will always be set up as a tiebreaker question. Level 3, you will go against the house, where you'll get a chance to bet some or all of the chips that you have accumulated. This is round 2, so it is a quarterfinals matchup. If you win today, you move on to the semifinals. If you finish in second place, you have a chance. We're taking our top 2 second place finishers to the semis as well. And as a reminder, there are 4 quarterfinal matchups. Make it all the way to the finals, you are in the money. Win the finals, you take home $15,000. Second place, $10K. Third place is $5K. So of course, once again, we have to put something else on the line for our outright winner today. Now, we certainly have some online grinders here, so this is perfect. We have, let me sit back and relax, Poker Mouse, the deskless version for the online grind. Let's take a look at this beautiful box. There it is. The way you play your hand. This is a very, very popular mouse. I'm reading the reviews straight from the box. What our users say. Let's see. First user says, the market loves it. Then, as a poker player, I'm using it for sure. Also, for multi-tables especially, it's perfect. And finally, these are awesome. So there you go. The rave reviews are in for the very popular Poker Mouse deskless version that the outright winner will win today. All right, Daniel, hit the music. Here we go. Level 1, the blinds are 100, 200. That means you can bet 200 on the flop, 400 on the turn. Justin, you are our #1 seed, so you have the button. Jamie is in the small blind. Chris is in the big blind. Let's take a look at our first hands category. Vegas Showtime. Let's chat about some shows on the strip. Justin, you're on the button, so you will lead off our betting. You can raise, call, or fold.
I will call.
He will call over to Jamie in the small blind.
Call.
Jamie will call. Chris, you can check or raise in the big.
Check.
He will check. Let us see our flop question. Ventriloquist Terry Fader was discovered on what popular TV show? Answers, please. Fader, so big time at the Mirage, they named a theater after him. Where was he discovered? What show? All right, our answers are in. Jamie, since you're in the small blind, you are first to act. You can check or bet.
Check.
Check it over to Chris.
Check.
Chris will check to Justin on the button.
Don't think a bluff's going to work here. I'm going to check.
He is going to check as well before we see what our players said. Let's see what the correct answer is. Yeah, it's America's Got Talent now with Gabrielle Union, Howie Mandel, Julianne Hough, the GOAT, Simon Cowell, AGT winner Matt Franco, also on the strip. He is performing at the link. Who got this one right? Jamie said America's Got Talent. That is correct. Chris said America's Got Talent. That is correct. Justin said America's Got Talent. It wouldn't have been a bluff, but we would have ramped up the size of the pot for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody gets it right. Everybody moves on to the turn. Let us take a look at that turn question. Which mysterious performer has the top grossing Las Vegas show of all time? Answers, please. Plenty of mysterious performances in Las Vegas. Whose show is the top grossing of all time? All right, our answers are in. Jamie, you are first act. You can check or bet.
Check.
She's going to fire 400 on the turn. Chris.
I said check.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for clarifying. Jamie will
Nice
check.
angle. Nice angle, Jamie.
Jamie will check over to Chris.
I'm confused now, but I'll still check.
He'll check it over to Justin.
She seems so adamant about that check. I'm going to have to bet this one. Bet.
He is going to place a bet on the turn. Jamie.
Raise.
Oh, there we go. The check raise from Jamie over to Chris. Well played.
What an angle.
Yep. Jeff, help me with that angle. Appreciate you.
I was trying to decide between two performers, so I'm just going to fold. I'm not quite sure.
He is going to lay it down. Justin?
I'm not 100% either, but I call.
He is going to make the call. Before we see what Jamie and Justin said, let's take a look at the correct answer. David Copperfield, the illusionist at the MGM Grand. You hear Jamie laughing. She was on the bluff. She did say Chris Angel, or maybe she thought Chris Angel was the correct answer. Chris, by the way,
I had the best hand.
Chris, by the way, said Britney Spears. Justin said David Copperfield. That was the mysterious performer that we were looking for. Justin gets it right. Justin wins this hand. Justin becomes our chip leader. Justin has our chip lead. He has 10.8K in chips. Chris in second with 9,800. Jamie in third with 9,400. For this hand, Jamie has the button. Chris is in the small blind. Justin's in the big blind. Let's take a look at this hand's category. The Mayfair Club. Old school card room in New York City. Jamie, you're on the button. You lead off our betting. You can raise, call, or fold.
Call.
Going to make the call on the button over to Chris.
Call.
Chris will call as well. Justin, you can check or raise.
Check.
He will check. Everybody goes to our flop. Let's see that flop question. Name two poker pros who cut their teeth playing with the Sharks at the Mayfair Club. Answers, please. A long list of answers that we will accept. Just looking for two poker pros who cut their teeth playing Sharks at the Mayfair Club. Maybe became Sharks themselves. All right, our answers are in. That means we open up another betting round. Chris, you are first to act.
Check.
Chris will check it over to Justin.
Check.
Justin will check it over to Jamie.
Check.
It is checks all the way around. Before we see what our players said, let's take a look at the correct answer at our very long list. Here we go. Howard Lederer, Dan Harrington, Eric Seidel, Jason Lester, Steve Zolotow, Stu Unger, Jay Heimowitz, Mickey Appleman, Dave Catapano, Annie Duke, and Paul McGrill. Let us see what our players had to say. Chris said Howard Lederer. That is correct. He also said Andy Block. Not on our list. That is incorrect. We move over to Justin Young. Justin said Eric Seidel. That is correct. Justin said Dan Harrington. That is also correct. Justin gets this one right. Over to Jamie. Jamie said Eric Seidel as well. She also said Jennifer Harmon. That is incorrect. So Justin takes down his second hand in a row. Justin wins another hand. Justin extends his chip lead. He has 11,200 in chips. Chris Moneymaker, he has 9,600 in chips. Jamie has 9,200. For this hand, Chris, you have the button. Justin in the small blind. Jamie in the big blind. Let's take a look at this hand's category. The U.S. Poker Open, one of the high roller series that takes place in this very studio right where Justin is sitting. Chris, you're on the button. You'll lead off our betting. Raise, call, or fold.
Call.
We'll make the call over to Justin in the small blind.
Call.
Jamie, you can check her raise.
Raise.
She is going to raise it up from the big blind. Action back to Chris.
I don't even watch the U.S. Poker Open. I'll fold.
Thank you for the support, though, of the Great High Roller Series. You watched the highlight version
Yeah,
just
the
a
highlight
couple
version,
years
yeah.
later when, okay, Justin?
I'm pretty sure Chris is going to know all these answers, but I'm going to call, obviously.
He is going to call. So it is Jamie and Justin going to our flop. Let's take a look at that flop question. This high roller has dominated at the USPO, winning the series trophy in 2018 and taking down the first tournament in the series in 2019. Answers, please.
Am I allowed to change my answer or no?
Yes, our answers are not locked in yet.
I put an answer down, by the way. I doubt it's right.
Oh, we'll get to that.
I know you will.
Wait, I'm like, how much time do you have?
I'm done.
How much time before you call the clock?
We're calling the clock now.
Oh no. I'm freaking on the name, it's killing me.
Begging to get
All
bluffed
right,
here.
our answers are in. Justin, you are first to act. You can check or bet.
I will bet.
After that show from Jamie, he is going to bet. Jamie.
This is so bad, I haven't slept. All right, I'll call, whatever. I'm
Jamie
wrong, though.
will make the call before we see what they said. Taking a look at the correct answer, that answer is Stephen Chidwick.
Oh, that's what I had first. I had it first. I changed it. Dang
He
it.
ended up in third place in the 2019 USPO. Justin did have Stephen Chidwick, asked if he could change his answer since answers weren't locked in. We told him that he could, so he changed it to Ali Imersonic, and I think he meant to say Ali Imshirovich. Both are incorrect. We go over to Jamie Kerstetter. Jamie said Stephen Chidwick. Pretty good guess. Jamie
Just got
wins
angled.
this hand. Justin Young
Jamie.
obviously thinking about the Poker
falling for it.
Masters when he says Ali
I
and Chris.
commentated this. And I couldn't remember.
And Chris weighed in with Justin Bonomo, which was incorrect. Jamie wins this hand. We have a very close game on our hands. That's a wrap for level 1. We raise the stakes in level 2 next. Back here on the big blind, let us take a look at the chip counts. Justin Young, a very slight chip lead, 10,600. Jamie Kerstetter with 10K in chips, and Chris Moneymaker has 9,400 in chips. Level 2, the blinds are 200, 400. That means you can bet 400 on the flop, 800 on the turn. What is on the line? A spot in our semifinals, where the finals will be just within reach. A win today gets you to the semis. Second place might get you to the semis. We will take our top 2 second place finishers from our 4 quarterfinals matches to the semifinals. And also, the outright winner wins this, just a poker mouse. So when you're on the grind, you can sit back, relax. It doesn't click too much or anything. You wouldn't make any mistakes with this mouse. No misclicks at all, guaranteed. Justin has the button as we start level 2. Jamie is in the small blind. Chris is in the big blind, taking a look at this first hands category. The MGM Grand, a staple of the Las Vegas Strip. Justin, since you're on the button, you lead off this betting round. You can raise, call, or fold.
Call.
Make the call over to Jamie in the small blind.
Call.
Jamie calls as well. Chris, you can check or raise in the big.
Way to gamble, Jamie. Check.
He will check. Everybody will see this flop question. If day clubbing and pool parties are your thing, you can get your groove on. We wrote this script like 15 years ago. At this 54,500 square foot MGM venue. Answers, please. Very popular spot here in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. What is it? All right, our answers are in. Jamie, you're in the small blind. You're first to act. You can check or bet.
Check.
Over to Chris.
I'll bet.
Chris will bet on the flop. Justin.
I fold.
Justin will lay it down. Jamie.
Call.
Jamie will make the call. Let's see what the correct answer is. That answer? Wet Republic. Sounds like Chris was on the bluff, but he might be okay. Residencies from Zed, Calvin Harris, and Tiesto at Wet Republic. Our players. Jamie said Studio 54. That is incorrect. Chris said...
You called? Why would you call? You know that can't be
I thought
right.
it was right.
Studio 54 was purely a bluff catcher in this spot, Chris. Chris said splash. He was on the bluff. Justin said Club 54. He is out of the hand. The bluff worked on Justin. He laid it down, but Jamie and Chris will move on to our turn question. That question is, when the MGM Grand first opened in 1993, it was extensively themed to honor which classic movie musical? Answers, please.
So happy I'm out of this.
What was the theme of the MGM Grand when it first opened in 1993? It was one to honor this classic movie musical. All right, our answers are in. Jamie, you are first to act. You can check or bet 800.
Check.
Just check it and let's go to the damn
Check it
tiebreaker.
down. Let's see what the correct answer was. It was The Wizard of Oz, the 1939 classic movie musical. Jamie said Grease. That is incorrect. Chris said The Lion King. Not a bad idea considering what the
guess.
MGM Grand looks like. That is also incorrect.
I knew it was wrong.
Jamie and Chris will move on to our river tiebreaker.
Neither of us deserves it.
Trust me, I know.
A nice transition, though, here from Chris, because here's our tiebreaker question. The bronze lion statue outside the MGM Grand is said to be the largest bronze sculpture in the Western Hemisphere. How many tons does it weigh? Answers, please. It weighs more than 1 ton. I'll give you that. 2,000 in chips in the middle. The winner of this hand becomes our new chip leader. All right, our answers are in. Before we see what Jamie and Chris had to say, let's take a look at the correct answer. 50 tons. The lion weighed 50 tons. We'll check in with Jamie's answer first. She said 32 tons. Not a bad guess. 18 tons off the mark. If Chris gets closer than that, he wins the hand. He becomes our chip leader.
I'm the
Chris
worst
says,
number guesser ever.
Yeah, he said 6 tons. 44
I
tons
forgot the
off.
zero. I meant to put the zero on the backside of it.
Yeah, but we just accept the 6, which is slightly off our correct answer of 50. That means that Jamie wins the hand. Jamie takes our chip lead. Chris has not had the most enjoyable time during river tiebreaker questions throughout his
I'm the
stay
worst.
on the big blind. So taking a look at our chip counts, Jamie on the top of the leaderboard. She has 11,200 in chips. Justin has 10.2K. Chris has 8,600 for this hand. Jamie has the button. Chris is in the small blind. Justin is in the big blind. Let's take a look at this hand's category. That category is Baccarat. Jamie, you're on the button. You lead off our betting. Raise, call, or fold.
Raise.
Going to raise it up on the button. Chris in the small blind.
Call.
Chris makes the call. Justin in the big.
Oh,
Justin makes the call as well. Everybody goes to the flop. Let's see that flop question. Baccarat is a simple game that compares a player's hand against what? Answers, please. Compares a player's hand against what? All right, there we go. Our answers are in. That means we open up another betting round. Chris, you are first to act. You can check or bet 400.
Check.
He's
Wait,
going.
are we going to see the answer? Oh, never mind. We're not going to see the answers yet. Never mind. Check.
Okay. He's going to check it over to Justin.
sure we can't see the answers and then decide? No. Okay,
That
I'll
is
check.
correct.
Okay.
He will check over to Jamie.
Bet.
Jamie's going to fire off again in the Baccarat category from the button. Chris.
Call.
Chris makes the call. Justin.
Call.
Justin calls as well. Let's see the correct answer. The banker's hand. Let's see what our players had to say. Chris said bank. We will accept that. Justin said bank. We will accept that. Jamie said the banker. We will accept that. Everybody gets it right. Everybody moves on to the turn. Let's see that turn question. If a player's initial total is 0 through 5, that player does what? Answers, please. Our biggest pot of the day, 3,600 in chips in the middle. If a player's initial total is 0 through 5, the player does what? All right, our answers are in. Chris, your first act. You can check or bet.
I'm going to bet.
He's going to lead for a bet of 800 over to Justin.
Call.
Justin makes the call. Jamie.
Call.
Jamie makes the call as well. Before we see what our players said, let's see the correct answer. Draws another card. Seeing what our players had to say, we start with Chris. Chris said, gets another card. That is correct. Justin said, gets another card. That is correct. Jamie said, takes another card. That is also correct. Gets another card, draws, takes, whatever. It's all the same. They all count. Everybody moves on. Get ready, Chris, for a river.
I'm ready. I bloated the pot.
It is a river tiebreaker question. Here we go. A 2015 study found that the 285 Baccarat tables on the Strip comprised 11% of the table games offered. What percentage of the total Strip table game revenues did these 285 tables bring in? Answers, please.
No, not this again. Not this again.
It took up 11% of the games, but what percent of the game's revenues? Okay, our answers are in. Before we see what our contestants weighed in with, let's take a look at the correct answer. That answer is 47% of the total Strip table game revenues. We start with Chris, our tiebreaker wizard in the small blind. He says 29%. Not a terrible guess, about 18% off the mark. We move over to Justin Young. Justin says 37%. A closer guess, just 10% off.
Of course it is.
Jamie Kerstetter weighs in with 26%. That's the furthest off.
I beat somebody.
You did beat somebody, but it is Justin taking every single chip of our biggest pot today. It is Justin taking the chip lead. He now has 14,200 in chips. Jamie in second with 9,200. Chris in third place with 6,600 in chips. For our final hand of the second level, Chris has the button. Justin is in the small blind. Jamie's in the big blind. Let's take a look at this hand's category. Phil Ivey, the legend. We transition from Baccarat to Ivy. You see what we did there. Chris on the button leads off our betting. You can raise, call, or fold.
Call.
The tank call from Chris on the button over to Justin.
I call.
Makes the call as well. Jamie, you can check or raise out of the big blind.
Raise.
She is going to raise it up on the Phil Ivey category. Back to Chris.
Call.
Chris makes the call. Justin?
I call.
Justin makes the call. Everybody will see this flop question. What poker variant has Ivy, surprisingly, never won a standalone bracelet in? Answers, please. 10 bracelets for Phil Ivey. Surprisingly, never won a standalone bracelet in this. All right, our answers are in. Justin, you are first to act. You can check or bet.
I check.
We'll check it over to Jamie. Jamie?
Check.
Jamie will check as well. Over to Chris.
I will check.
Chris will check as well. Everybody checks before we see what our players said. Let's take a look at the correct answer. That would be Hold'em, either limit Hold'em or no limit Hold'em. Ivy's never won a standalone bracelet in those variants. Taking a look at what our players had to say. Justin says, no limit Texas Hold'em. That is correct. Jamie says, pot limit Omaha. That is incorrect. On to Chris. He says, no limit Hold'em. That is correct. Jamie out of this hand.
So glad you put surprisingly in there.
Justin and Chris do advance to the turn. Yes, that's why we put surprisingly in there. And let us see this turn question. Phil Ivey got his first nickname based on a fake ID he used to play poker in Atlantic City in his teenage years. What was that nickname? Answers, please.
That's not good because Justin just went straight to typing.
It's all about the bluff.
All right, our answers are in. Justin, you are first to act. You can check or bet.
I'll bet.
He will lead into Chris on the turn.
Justin, I hope I crush your soul. I raise.
He raises it up.
I call.
Justin will make the call. Let's take a look at what the correct answer is. We're looking for the nickname of No Home Jerome. Let's take a look at what Justin had to say. By the way, Jamie got it right, even though she wasn't in this hand. She said, no home Jerome. Justin said, AC Jerome. Our judges said we're not going to take that for Phil Ivey's nickname. Chris Moneymaker says, no home Jerome. We are going to take that for Phil
I own
Ivy's
Justin.
nickname. And finally, Chris Moneymaker gets the best of Justin Young. And finally, Chris Moneymaker wins a hand. He waited until the last hand of the day to do it, but he does do it. And that sets up a super compelling final round when our players go against the house. Back here on the big blind, let us take a look at our chip counts. It's a very slight chip lead for Justin Young. He has 11,800 in chips. Chris is in second with 9,800 in chips. Jamie is in third with 8,400 in chips. And now we enter against the house, where our players take their stacks from the poker table to the pit to fire off against the casino. Now, while there's no outright prize for second at this point, our second place finisher is still live to move on to the next round. Now, our players have the option to wager as much or as little of their stack as they so choose. They'll see a video featuring a hand from a tournament and a multiple choice question on what hand a player has. In the quarterfinals, your amount of choices increases from 3 to 4. So, Jamie, Chris, Justin, please send in your wagers.
I gotta lose my
Remember, our
Yeah.
winner of this round advances to the semifinals, and we take the top 2 second place finishers from our 4 quarterfinals matchups. Those 2 also advance to the semifinals. Send in your wagers. Jamie has up to 8,400 to wager. Chris has up to 9,800 to wager. Justin has up to 11,800 to wager. The wagers are in. Let's take a look at this hand from the 2014 World Series of Poker main event.
It's been folded to Kane Callis in the big blind with Queen 9, who feels like defending.
Unlike Griffin Benger and Matt Waxman, Callis can actually sing. He sang the national anthem at many Phillies games his father was broadcasting.
Top 2 for Callis. Dan Smith, he does bet 125,000. There's a check raised to 335.
Are those all your lavenders?
I hate when people ask me about my lavenders.
Dan Smith, a call. Turn card. Ace of hearts. But Callis cutting out some chips. 395,000 now.
All in.
Smith puts Callis all in.
What does Dan Smith have here? The Ace Jack of clubs, pocket queens, the Jack 10 of diamonds, or the 7-6 of hearts? Answers, please. Callis defended in the big against Smith's under the gun raise. Smith gets check raised and calls on the flop. Callis leads on the turn and Smith shoves. All right, all of our answers are in. Let us see how this hand plays out.
Wow, Kane looks at Dan and Dan swallows like he's worried. Camp counselors shouldn't give out false tells.
Cool.
Kane Callis makes his last call of this main event. He's been knocked out by Dan Smith.
Nice hand, Dan. Thank you.
That's how swiftly your main event crashes to a close.
Look at that card. Good luck, buddy. Appreciate it. Nice game.
Dan Smith had the queens, a cooler spot for Kane Callis. Let's start with our shortest stack. That was Jamie. She entered this hand with 8,400 in chips. She says the Jack 10 of diamonds. That is incorrect. She wagered 8,400. That was all of her chips. So Jamie has 0 in chips to close out this game. Let's take a look at Chris's answer next. Chris said the Ace Jack of clubs. That is also incorrect. Chris wagered 7,100 in chips. That means he ends this game with 2,700 in chips. So it does all come down to this. Let's take a look at Justin's answer. Justin said the 7-6 of hearts. That's also incorrect. Guesses all across the board. Everybody got it wrong. We see what Justin wagered. He wagered 7,801, and that means with a final chip stack of 3,999, Justin Young is our winner. Congratulations once again. You are moving on to the semifinals. How's that one feel?
Did not think I was going to get through. Wow, that feels great. 3,900. That's good.
I was this close to wagering 4,399, and I would have crushed your soul.
Oh, that is so brutal. Chris, are you just super ecstatic for Justin on another victory?
I almost wagered 0 and just said screw it because there were 4 choices, but whatever.
It's nice to have 2 people in my corner from here on out.
So Chris in second place just might be moving on to the next round. We lose Jamie Kerstetter. Jamie, thank you so much for playing. It was a blast to have you.
Bye.
All right, again, it is Justin Young who conquers all. He gets our little wireless mouse to hang out with at home in this PokerGO studio.
He's going to be the worst winner.
Chris Moneymaker, absolutely thrilled for his buddy. Thank you to our players for playing this game. Thanks to you all for watching. I'm Jeff Platt. We'll see you next time on The Big Blind.